You know, I'm a firm believer that you can tell a lot about a person with how it is that they respond to criticism. Will they take into that criticism and actually think about it, reflect upon what it is that they do, and potentially use it to go ahead and make themselves better or to strengthen their argument? Or will they turn around and just completely neglect whatever it is that you said, and simply because you disagree with them, well, you know what? You're the bad guy, you're mean, you're evil, you're this, that, and the third, simply because you don't agree with them on every little thing it is that they say or every little thing it is that they believe. If you remember a couple of days ago, I went ahead and did a 3-hour plus live stream where I was covering QT Cinderella drama along with a new Ethan Klein hit piece by Paige Christie. So color me surprised when I actually end up finding myself in a short segment on Paige Christie's newest video, where she tries to imply that I'm an H3 fan, even though I have stated multiple fucking times that I don't actually watch H3 unless he's in drama. Not to mention the fact that you don't even actually have to be an H3 fan in order to know what happened with him. There's so many different retrospective videos out there that you could go and watch. You don't actually have to be a fan of somebody to know about that person. He literally did. He's rebuilt his audience 3 times. This freaking fair weather watcher, man.
As harsh as it may have been at the
I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't freaking watch Ethan Klein religiously. I don't even watch him like on a monthly basis, but I at least know enough that he's rebuilt his fucking audience 3 different times. He has such a good team with him. Like, I don't even watch H3 like that, but I'm gonna be honest. I'm 100% jealous of the team that he has. They're a great group of people over there. Freaking hilarious timing.
So I don't know, you know, like, again, a lot of people on the outside were like, oh, this video was very balanced. Again, when the H3 fan base is
on the outside, yeah, on the outside of the H3. On the outside of the H3 people who actually have like watched, and you know, I'm not even going to say the H3 people, because I don't even have to watch H3 to know that the freaking lore, the history of the internet there. Old enough to count. If you know, you know. I know that. I'm not even a fan of H3, but the lack of basic research is actually insane, bro. But it's like I've always said, there are people who hold the mentality that either you're completely with us or you're completely against us. It doesn't matter that I agreed that yes, what Ethan did could be considered blackface, that yes, people could feel that it was blackface or that it was racist or that they could have been offended by it, or that he's turned around and he has said some racial remarks in the past, or that he has used the N-word in the past. Any of that stuff is true, and I completely and utterly agree with it. I just simply disagree with the fact that him doing charcoal mask face is blackface, and because of that, I get put in a video being called an Ethan Klein fan or a foot soldier. How exactly does that work?
However, when I saw that DiOrio was reviewing my content in his live stream, I was extremely interested in seeing what his opinion is, as a former fan. However, what I found was the exact same echo chamber that I had seen that Ethan Klein and his own audience had shared. That I'm simply not a very well-researched T-channel who hates Ethan Klein and refuses to give up on the past. However, when it came to the crux of my video, where I spoke about disparagement humor and how blackface can be akin to some forms of anti-Semitism, the nuance where I'm trying to find mutual ground where everybody can understand each other's feelings towards the situation, DiOrio completely skipped that section of the video.
Okay, go to 57. That's the end of the video. Very funny. That was very funny, Ryan. I appreciate you, Ryan. That was very funny. I really appreciate you. All right, we're gonna dive here.
And this is something it is that I find with many people who are critical of my content, that actually viewing my content in its entirety seems like a huge and tall order. The jokes are about people of color. Now, one of the...
Okay, I can't anymore. I can't. She just wants to be upset. That's all it is. She just wants to be upset. She wants you to be upset over jokes. She wants you to believe that just because you are offended by a joke or that you don't find the joke funny, that it's racist, and it's not. There's almost 18 minutes left in this video. I'm not finishing it. I can't. I'm done. I'm done. I'm so done. You know what's absolutely weird to me is that she goes ahead and talks about how, oh, it's just this Herculean task to go ahead and finish a person's video. Well, if you actually had watched this video of mine, you would see that this is at the absolute end of the fucking 3-hour plus live stream that I had did, or the hour and 40-minute fucking segment that this video, that this is, you know, sourced from. But what I do find find to be very interesting about her point of view of it being a Herculean task to finish her video, she decides to actually cut out the part of the fucking video where I explain why I am not finishing the goddamn video. Now, you could ask yourself, oh, there's no way she would do that. Why would she, of all people, who's talking about fucking criticism of her video, cut out the criticism of her video and the explanation of why it is that I am no longer finishing the goddamn video? I wonder why it could be.
The jokes are about people of color. Now, one of the
Okay. I can't anymore. I can't. She just wants to be upset. That's all it is. She just wants to be upset. She wants you to be upset over jokes. She wants you to believe that just because you are offended by a joke or that you don't find the joke funny, that it's racist. And it's not. It's absolutely not. There's there's almost 18 minutes left in this video. I'm not finishing it. I can't. I'm done. I'm done. This video started out with that she made the declaration that she was going to show him intentionally doing blackface, and everything she's shown so far, she has herself said she does not attribute it to blackface. She does not believe it is blackface, and that she knows it's a joke. Enough said, man. Enough said. I'm done. I'm so done with this bullshit, man. So I guess it's totally okay to cut out the context of a person's video so long as you watch the entirety of it. It's totally okay to cut out the criticism of a person's video or the criticism that a creator might have for your video so long as you watch the entirety of the fucking video. See, this is what I'm saying. I don't understand how it is that somebody can get on their moral high horse talking about how, oh my God, they didn't finish my video. Yes, I didn't finish your video. And I explained exactly why it is I didn't finish your video. You started out the fucking segment of this video stating that he has done targeted racism. Then you turn around and state that, oh, this can constitute as racism, whether directly or indirectly. Then you start turning around and saying that yourself, you don't even believe that these are actual targeted racial things of him doing blackface. So what exactly is the fucking point of this video? That some people could see it as being blackface and some people could see it as being racist? Wow, it's crazy. It's almost like I fucking agreed to that. It's almost like I fucking said in the video that yes, people could perceive it as racist. That yes, people could perceive it as being blackface. I just simply disagree with the fact that it is racist or that it is blackface. Like how? How is it that you, the freaking moral arbiter apparently, can't seem to understand that? Oh, that's right, because it always goes back to you're either completely with us or you're completely against us. You completely decide to cut out the part where I stated that yes, people can see this as racist, that yes, people can see this as blackface, obviously, because people fucking have. But the simple fact that I decide that no, I don't think this is blackface makes me a fucking Ethan Klein fan, even though in the damn video I even say I'm not an Ethan Klein fan. Like, come on, dude. This is why I say people just want to be a fucking victim. Now, this whole situation actually has made me rewatch my video a couple of times and look at the points that I was making. And you know what? Upon reflection, I do actually have to concede on something. When I turned around and said that just because you feel like a joke might be racist or might be offensive doesn't mean that it's an actual racist joke, I will concede on that and say, you know what? I was wrong. That's not what I should have said. What I should have said is that just because a joke might be racist or might be taken as racist doesn't mean that the person making the fucking joke is racist. We've had plenty of black comedians make white jokes, and I would not racist white jokes, mind you, and I would not consider them to be racist against white people. The same way we've had black people say racist jokes about Mexicans, against whites, whites against Chinese, and I wouldn't consider any of them racist racist just because of a fucking joke. Racism is an ideology, okay? I'm not going to sit there and say that just because somebody made a racist joke that they are racist, but I will concede in the fact that I shouldn't have said that the joke isn't racist. I should have stated that the person making it isn't racist. Now, the second thing that I have an issue with here is that she wants to talk about the crux of her video. When it comes to the crux of her video, DiOrio went ahead and skipped over it. Well, as can be seen, I literally watched the video almost all the way up to, what, 40 fucking minutes? So that means that I engaged with the crux of her video, the point that she was trying to make. The problem she has with that is I fundamentally just disagree with the fact that he is racist because he did some fucking jokes 15 years ago or some shit, okay? I didn't turn around and state that nobody could see this as racist. I didn't turn around and say that nobody could see this as blackface. Hell, in the fucking video that she sourced this from, I even agree that people could see it as blackface and or racist. I'm not gonna say, listen, dude's older, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, everyone's entitled to how they feel. I'm not gonna sit there and if somebody says, oh man, I feel like that's blackface or that could be perceived as blackface, whatever, yeah, sure, I'm not gonna disagree with you. Could it be perceived that way? Absolutely, it's obviously been perceived that way. But just because it's perceived to be that way doesn't make it so. If you said you were going to show us clips of him intentionally doing blackface, so far all I've got is people attributing what he did to being blackface. Not him actually doing blackface, but people attributing what he did to blackface. So again, it's yet to live up to it. You show him even arguing with his parents that it's not blackface, and yet you're still trying to attribute it to being blackface? Okay, I guess, I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe I have too much of a brain. I don't know. If he was truly doing blackface, I have no problem saying that he is doing blackface and that it's racist. But this is stupid. Now, the reason that I said that she was going to actually show us Ethan Klein intentionally being racist is due to the fact that she made the statement that he has done targeted racism. Now, targeted means intentional. Targeted means specific thing in mind, right? Specific goal. If you targeted a person with transphobia, you are specifically attempting to be transphobic. If you do targeted racism, you are specifically doing something to be racist. That means there is intent behind it. But you front loaded all of these clips with targeted racism, and then you turn around and completely rewrite it by stating, oh, well, it's going to be blackface, whether intentional or not.
But if you mention his targeted racism towards black people, he's like, let's not get too political. And that brings us.
Okay, hold on. Targeted means targeted racism towards them. So you are going to show something of him directly being racist to black people, not indirectly with a joke, not indirectly with a funny comment or a joke that didn't land, but a direct racial remark.
With mud rubbed on his face, captioned, when she says she only dates black guys. This again is allegedly a lie. Let's take a quick look of a brief rundown of everything that is the blackface.
Okay, that one I do know absolutely happened. It was an Instagram post. But again, you're saying you have direct evidence of him intentionally doing blackface. So intentionally means that the whole point of him doing it was to do blackface. So again, if we're going to go by your own standards, you need to show me direct evidence of him choosing to do blackface. Not a joke, not some like, oh, haha, funny moment after the fact, but a legitimate desire for him to do blackface.
Face saga. And how many people have interpreted what Ethan Klein and Hila Klein have both done on their channels as blackface.
Interpretation? That's what we're going with? I don't need interpretation from somebody. What I need is if they actually did it. Yes or no. Did they do it? If they did it, they did it. If someone interpreted it as blackface, then they interpreted it as blackface. Why are we all of a sudden making these changes?
Whether intentional or not. So just...
Oh my God. No, we can't do this whether intentional or not BS. Either they did it or they didn't do it. There's no ands, ifs, or buts in this situation. Now, the reason why it is that I say that there is, no ands, ifs, or buts, either he did it or he didn't do it, is because she was reading off of a fucking list of things where how many times did they say deliberately?
The lies is that Ethan and Gila deliberately wore blackface by wearing charcoal face masks. Ethan deliberately applied makeup onto Gila in order to make it seem as if she is wearing blackface. Ethan deliberately wore blackface by getting spray tan. And Ethan deliberately wore blackface when he posted a photo with mud rubbed on his face captioned, "When she says she only dates black guys."
I'm a massive advocate of the fact that, words have actual meanings behind them. There are some people in a lab somewhere that decided what it is that these words mean. Now, yes, she is reading off of a fucking list where people were saying it's a lie that they deliberately did this, that Ethan and Gila Klein deliberately engaged in blackface, then proceeds to start showing a multitude of freaking clips that she herself turns around and say she doesn't consider it to be blackface and she knows it's a joke. So exactly what the fuck is the point here? That people have the ability to turn around and say or interpret somebody's actions as something other than what they are? Again, I've already fucking agreed to this. If you're going to show me something that counteracts the fact that it is a lie, that means that you have something to show that shows them deliberately doing it, not unintentionally, okay, not making a joke out of it, that it was deliberately done to elicit a reaction due to the fact that they were doing blackface. It could have been indirectly done. It could have been 100% received as blackface. It obviously was. It 100% could be received as racist or racism. But at the end of the day, you front-loaded all of these clips by stating that it was allegedly a lie, that they directly and deliberately did this to constitute as blackface. And the only way your video works at all is the fact that you make the statement that it's blackface, whether directly or indirectly, which does not work here. If you're going to sit here and state that people defending Ethan Klein or people claiming that this isn't blackface, that they did not deliberately do blackface, then your evidence must then turn around and support the fact that they deliberately did it, not indirectly did it. I even said in the video that if he deliberately did blackface, then yes, that's racist, that's racism, that's wrong, 100% in agreement with you. Unfortunately, you spent the remainder of that time that I watched saying that this shit doesn't even constitute as blackface in your own fucking opinion.
Like on the camera, it really works, and it's definitely not blackface.
Now again, would I say that this was an outward example of blackface? No.
Fuck you, man. It's not blackface. It's fucking bronzer. Bah!
Now again, I'm not stupid. I know this is a joke. This is simply just an open acknowledgement and a disparaging joke surrounding blackface. Now, would I personally say that this is Ethan Klein doing blackface? No.
You look like a cartoon character.
Now again, I would not say that this is an instance of blackface.
Now, to be completely honest with you, I'm gonna have to make another concession here because there is a part of her segment that, does not look really good on my part. I was doing a callback earlier in the stream to where I was talking about how you could turn around and agree with trans people being in existence, that they should be able to get married, that they should have all the same rights as everybody else. But if you simply turn around and state that you don't believe a trans woman is a woman or a trans man is a man, then you're transphobic. And that you're this terrible human being who isn't an ally or whatever the fuck these people want to say. And I really should have fledged this thought out and actually went ahead and reiterated my point with this bullshit, man. It's these types of people, it's these types of videos, this type of rhetoric, this type of mindset, this freaking mind virus here that makes people go to the opposition. Because we want, as somebody like myself who believes that yes, trans people have a right to exist, they should be able to do whatever they want, they should be able to, or not do whatever they want, let me rephrase that. They should not have to go through life being attacked or gone after because they're trans or anything. But when I see shit like this or race or like freaking the desire to be a victim like this, it makes me just hate these types of people. It makes me hate this side. Now I know this does kind of make me look a little schizo here with what I was saying, but it was a callback to when I was talking about trans people, which you're about to see here in a little second. What I was trying to make a point of is the same thing I've been saying this entire video and the same thing I've been saying for a long time. Either you completely agree with somebody or you are completely against them. That is the mentality of these fucking people. It doesn't matter that I agree the fact that Ethan did this could be considered racist. It doesn't matter the fact that I agree that people could consider it to be fucking blackface. It doesn't matter that I agree that he said the N-word. It doesn't matter that I agree that he said and done some terrible things or some fucked up shit. It doesn't matter that I agree with all of those points, that people have the ability to be offended by what the fuck he's done or said in his life. None of that matters due to the fact that I simply disagree with him intentionally doing blackface. And the worst part about it though is that there's the word transphobic or homophobic or any phobic anything has been overused so much that just simply saying that you disagree with like that you believe there's only two genders, then that automatically makes you a transphobe, which isn't true. I just don't understand. Like if I sit here and I say, you know, I only believe that there's two genders, but I totally believe trans people should have every single rights as everybody else, then it's the simple fact that I don't believe that there's more than two genders is what people would label me as transphobic when it's not the case. And again, so it boils down to this. You either completely agree with us or you're against us. That's what a lot of these politics are. Now, I am actually able to turn around and take criticism. I'm 100% able to look inward and say to myself, that terrible clip, very bad. Should have actually taken the time to reiterate what I was saying and the point that I had in my mind. And I shouldn't have just turned around and cut it very quickly. And it's something that I'll do in the future. It is what it is. Not everybody's going to have a W. Not everybody's going to fucking be able to be the wordsmith of the world, okay? But I'm not a fucking victim, so I don't have to sit here and cry and be like, oh my god, you didn't watch all of my other videos or da-da-da-da-da. No, I can look at that and say, damn, you know what? That kind of sucks. I look kind of bad in that situation. Definitely gonna have to do better. And I'd like to leave off with this. If the crux of your video is at the last fucking 18 minutes of an almost hour-long fucking video, you know, people are going to have to sludge through 40 plus fucking minutes of your video just to get to what you say is the crux of your video or the point of your video. Don't you think you should probably, I don't know, put the point of your video in the beginning or at least throughout your video? Because not everyone's going to make it to the end of your fucking video, man. Especially when you're front loading the entirety of the goddamn video talking about directly, indirectly, targeted, not targeted. This is blackface, but I don't consider it to be blackface. Like, I'm supposed to go ahead and know that you're finally going to get to your point of the video in the last 18, 15, 16 minutes? Seriously, let's be realistic here. If you had a point in the video, you should have just fucking put it at the beginning of the goddamn video.
So let's go through Ethan Klein's historic racism from the past all the way up to present day. And you tell me if you believe that Ethan Klein is a changed man.